first want to do in the living wall is to fill the gutter up with some water. I want to see exactly where all the water wants to sit, and then I can plan out where the overflow is going to be from the gutter back into the tank. So after filling up the gutter here, I can see that the water wants to push mostly to this bench side. I think we can come up with a really cool looking little stream that flows from the bottom over there and comes this way. Let's see what we can come up with. With the gutter wanting to drain far enough on one side, it really actually works to our advantage. I'm gonna create a small waterfall or stream or overflow. I haven't really decided 100% on that. I went ahead and I drilled a hole. Unfortunately, I won't be able to put a bulkhead down there, but I'm gonna create. Now, if I fit it in here, it is a little loose. So my trick with that, take some electrical tape and wrap it around the coupling. Give it a couple good wraps, just break it off. We'll take our coupling that we created and just dry fit it up into place. Got a nice snug fit. So now what we'll do is we'll take some GE silicone 1 and silicone around the top here and then around the bottom as well. So that I have this silicone in place, I'll need to wait 24 hours to let it cure, and we'll be able to run the remaining hard piping into the tank and also to the living wall.
One eternity later.
What is going on, Terra Tribe? This is Nate with Terra Fade Exotics, and we are back with you on part 4 of the living wall build. We're going to be going through the hard piping of the canister filter into the living wall and also into the tank, and we're gonna get the water system. Hope you enjoy. What I found with plumbing is it's easier to start from the end and work your way towards the source. So in this case, we would be working on the drip system on the living wall. We get the drip system figured out and then backtrack going towards the canister filter. In my opinion, this has been the easiest for me, so that's how I'm gonna do it this time. I've cut the drip system already for 90.5 inches. That allows for 1.5 inches play on both sides. It's all right if the entire wall doesn't receive constant dripping water. That is because the fabric itself will actually wick that water towards drier areas. What I want to do is go through and measure out where I want my drip holes. The bit I'm going to be using is a 1/8 drill bit, and I'm going to be going in 1-inch intervals all the way down the pipe. Now, you want to take into consideration your end cap in your 90. So with that being said, it's sometimes easy to dry fit these. That way you don't make any mistakes going on through the drilling process. If you feel that your fitting is gonna go on tight, you can measure the inside where the stopper is for the PVC, and it's typically around 3/4 of an inch. You can come, take your measuring tape and measure out 3/4 of an inch. So from here, I'm gonna measure out 1-inch intervals all the way down and start to drill. When drilling, you're gonna wanna try to keep a straight of line as possible, because what we'll end up doing with the drip system is angling it to where it flows directly onto the wool. Drilling, I went with every 2 inches while drilling 3 holes directly in the middle, side by side. This way I can adjust where plants who like specific conditions can go on the wall. You can go ahead and glue on your end cap, but you don't want to glue on your 90 yet. This will be one of the last pieces you glue in, even though you're building from the drip system back to the canister filter. So while we're waiting for the misting system to finish up in the greenhouse. To finish hard piping the remaining part of the living wall, I just wanted to go over briefly on how I'm going to attach the tubing to the PVC. So this is a tubing to PVC adapter. It's threaded. This is a 1/2 inch threading, which fits on a 1/2 inch threaded to smooth coupling. And all you want to do is use some Teflon tape. Good trick is to follow the wraps while you're wrapping, so that way as you're screwing it in, it doesn't unwrap. I'm gonna get a good little coating of Teflon tape on there. That helps to seal up any sort of a leak that might be there. Start with your hand and tighten it down. And I have wrenches, but typically hand tight for these guys is pretty good. You know, if you want to give it just a little bit on a wrench, you can. You don't want to go too much though, because this is just plastic and you could break it. Now to attach the tubing to the adapter, we have a collar. This is a 7/16 to 1 1/16 collar. It'll go into the tubing. This will go onto your tubing here. And then your adapter will get pushed down all the way down onto it. And then your collar will go over that. Once you get it on where you like it, tighten it down. You usually want at least a good inch or so into here. If you can get it all the way, that's great. And if your tubing is cold, you can bring it inside to warm up, or what I do sometimes is hit it with a lighter and it softens right up for me. So I went ahead while the misting system was on, it's still kind of sputtering a little bit, and put the drip tube in there. I hard plumbed it in. This side, which is going to the living wall, is actually ready to get hard piped. So on the canister filter, it has an in and an out. Obviously we are going out. We are going to want to attach our fittings that we just made, or an end drop. First we'll want to hit it with some primer. This stuff is super messy, so if you're doing it over anything that you like, prepare to have purple stuff on it that stays there forever. Then you want to put in some glue. This glue is a little cold since it was in the shed, but just because it's clumpy like this, it'll still work pretty well. And you just want to attach this piece here, just like that. We've got our tubing in place, we've got our fitting attached, that's curing up. Now we just want to measure here where we want it. And we'll take our knife, cut the tubing, put our collar tie over it. And with this, I'll probably have to heat it up with a lighter. We'll warm up our tubing. Make it softer so we can put it over the adapter. You don't want to leave the heat in one spot for very long. You want to keep moving it back and forth just to soften it up. You got to push up and twist at the same time. You get your collar, twist that down, get yourself a screwdriver. Now if you have a multi-head like a 6-in-1, a 4-in-1, whatever, this will be your best friend, because even though you can twist it with a flathead, you get a better grip with the hex, and it fits perfectly. We're gonna put that on there and tighten it down. From here we can put our tubing into the out position and secure. So that's our out, rigged up and ready to go into the living wall. Now we're gonna work on the hard plumbing from the living wall into the tank, and then the tank into the canister filter. So now we need to figure out where we're gonna want the intake for the tank. I'd like to create a circular flow through here, so I'm going to put it towards this side of the tank, because our flow is coming from the other side of this piece of wood. Our first steps will need to be figuring out exactly how much we need. 6 foot. Start with 6 foot straight piece and then hard pipe in. So I finished off the remaining plumbing that we had to do for the living wall. I put in a little spigot there for the drain into the tank, and I filled the tank up. Now we're gonna go prime up the filter, get it plugged in, and see if we can't get any water flowing through this. It was at this point that I plugged in the filter and it began to pump the water through the tank, but unfortunately the canister filter wasn't strong enough. Somewhere in my calculations, I apparently didn't input the amount of holes that were in the top of the drip system, which caused a problem with the canister filter working properly. So I had to wait a week in order to get a more powerful canister filter, which in the long run is going to work better, and you'll see why in this next clip. What is going on, Terror Tribe? It has been almost a week since the start of this video. The new filter ended up coming in. I ended up getting an Aquatop MK2 series. The largest they have, it's 550 gallons per hour and a UV sterilizer, so it'll help kind of treat any algae issues I end up getting. It is time. I ran a quick little test run just to see if it would start pumping water. It did, so I immediately shut it right off. Now I'm going to show you guys the end result. So there it is.
No government agency has jurisdiction over the truth.
We have water. We have moving water, which is perfect. I've plugged it in and I've test tried it a couple times just to see how it would drip through. Because of it being such a high run to where the output is, I had to go back and adjust just a little bit on the hole diameter. What I did was I went through and I filled, as it was running, the holes with GE Silicone 1 clear. What this did, it allowed me to manipulate the flow from where the filter comes out all the way across the wall. It also allowed me to create certain sections where it's more wet and more dry. This will provide a more friendly environment for certain plants that prefer it more on the dry side or prefer it more on the wet side. We have good flowing water all the way across, and I can't wait to get planting. I'd like to thank everyone for continuing to follow along with this build series. I really appreciate all the comments. Can't believe, I think at the time of this video, we're up to 25 subscribers. That's really big. We don't have a lot of time to do a ton of videos as we have so much other things with the greenhouse going on, but it's really neat that you guys out there interested in what we're doing here. We appreciate your support. If you'd like to see more types of these videos, please don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you have some friends that might be interested in this video as well, don't forget to share it. Thank you, Terror Tribe, and we'll catch you in the next one.